everybody. I hope you're having a wonderful holiday season. We want to welcome you to a very special OTR classic, one of my personal favorites. We know you're going to love it if you haven't already listened. But here is Brittany Charboneau on the On the Runs podcast.
Are you ready to have some fun? Because our next guest on the pod is exactly that. Besides from being a professional runner and a run coach, she's a joy seeker, a penny finder. She makes weird art and some of the best looking cookies out there that you'll ever see. She loves to dress up, inspire confidence, laugh, get weird, and does it all to the beat of her own drum. Some of you might have recently seen her a couple years ago in New Hampshire running in a lobster costume. It is our pleasure to welcome the funny runner, Brittany Charboneau, to the On the Runs podcast. What's up, Brittany?
Yay! Thanks for having me, guys. This is amazing, and I forgot about the lobster piece. Hell yeah.
We didn't forget about the lobster because you were in our home state and we were like, holy shit, it's Brittany Charboneau. Didn't you break a world record for that? Or like you got a world record?
Well,
fastest lobster ever.
Well, okay, so the world record is the fastest crustacean. Fastest half marathon dressed as a crustacean, but the problem was the Guinness Book of World Records is wildly specific, and it's like you have to do all of these things to get the official record, and it was just a lot of work. So I claimed the unofficial record, but if anybody were to ask, I'd be like, I totally have the record because I did the work.
Well, you have me on board, so I'm all about that.
You have the
That's
OTR
awesome.
stamp of approval there as the fastest crustacean. I have a hard time pronouncing words, but I think I got your last name right. Charboneau?
You nailed it. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, nailed it.
All right.
He's been practicing.
I want to tell you one thing about my co-host, Erica. She has 2 cats, and she loves cats. Anytime she sees cats or talks about cats, she gets all excited. And I want to talk about your cats. Erica's cat might make an appearance at some point, by the way. But
so might mine.
You have 2 cats, and they have quite the names.
I do. You, I think, have one of my older cats. So originally we got a cat and we decided it would be funny to name her a sentence. So we called her There's a Pool Party on Saturday because we thought that would be funny. And the joke was on us because she only responded to There's a Pool Party on Saturday specifically. And then she ran away. And so we were outside like for days wagging treats around, shouting, "There's a pool party on Saturday! There's a pool party on Saturday!" And people were
I don't know
"Where's
whether
the
to laugh
pool party?"
or not.
I'm really conflicted.
I know. So she's on an adventure. She's on a life adventure. So she's no longer in her house. But we had her, and we were like, "Well, she needs a friend." So we got a second cat, and people were like, "Well, what are you going to name this one?" Like, there's yoga on Thursday. And we were like, no, we're going to name him Snacks because you can't have a pool party on Saturday without snacks. So I'm going to keep going. Then, so there's pool party on Saturday, ran away. Snacks now needed a friend. I love U.S. presidential history. So we got this little gray cat, and I was like, who's the president with gray hair that loved snacks? And it's Bill Clinton. So now we have Bill Clinton and Snacks. And he only responds to Bill Clinton.
I am absolutely obsessed with this. Like, you just made my night. Like, but I knew about Bill Clinton and Snacks, but the pool party, oh my gosh. But my cat, so I have Maisie. We named her after Maisie Williams from Game of Thrones.
Okay.
But then I have another cat named Scooter, who we call Scooty. And me trolling your Instagram, I found out about Scooty and the Blowfish.
Scooty and the Blowfish! That's the name of my scooter. Yeah, I got a scooter.
I'm cracking up.
Oh, this is fate. This is meant to be.
It really is.
Yes.
I'm fangirling again. There was an episode we had earlier, Brittany, and I was all like, oh my God, she's the most fun person out there. So there's an episode where I'm absolutely losing my shit. Eventually I'll reel it in today, but I'm kind of getting there.
No, it's
I'm
totally
here for
cool.
it.
Lose your shit. You lose it. When you came, and we'll get to the lobster later, but it was funny. One of our friends follows you on Strava, and it showed you ran at UNH, the University of New Hampshire. And it's like, Brittany's in New Hampshire. What is she doing in New Hampshire? Because we already knew about you. This is 2 years ago. And we're like,
how funny.
We're like, do we go to UNH and creep? And then someone goes, she's running in the... Yeah.
It's creepy enough that we can see you on Strava. So we were like, we'll creep from afar.
Amazing. Yes. Oh, that's so awesome. Yeah, we have another coach who lives in Portsmouth. So she was out there, and then we were out there doing the 20 miler to lead up to Boston for a lot of our runners that were racing it that year. So it was awesome. Got so much lobster to eat. And I just love it in that neck of the woods. It's just stunning up there.
That race is a great one. Yeah, I've done that one a few times myself. I think I missed your year though, so I'm extra bummed about that. But,
dang.
But yeah, the Eastern States 20 miler. It's just start from Maine, go to Massachusetts, and it's so scenic. Like it's a blast. So I'm glad you enjoyed your time there.
Definitely.
I feel like we just have to talk about that right now, and then we'll go back to the beginning. But you decided to run in a lobster costume, and I think this is March. So why did you decide to run in a lobster costume?
Well, I thought it would be funny. I love costumes, and this was this 2 years ago? Was this 2021 or 2022? I think
I did it this year.
Just started.
I feel like it might have been last year.
Yeah, I think it was last year.
We just started the podcast, and so that would have been 2022.
Okay, yeah, because I had run the Disney races at the beginning of last year, and I was like super into my costumes, and so I just thought it'd be funny to show up to an Eastern race dressed as a lobster, and turns out there was a world record that you could get, but as the fastest half marathon dressed as a crustacean. So it was great, except my claws got super sweaty, and then I had to like pull a claw off, eat a gel, put my claw back on. And so, but it was worth it. Every single second was worth it.
All right. I might have jumped too far ahead. We can keep talking about costumes. We'll get there. But I'll let Erica take us back.
Brittany, we like to get to know you a little bit. So why don't you tell us about how you got into running in the first place, what sports you played growing up, and have you always been a runner? Just let us know a little bit about your background.
Yeah. So it's funny, we were right before we started recording, I was saying that it's really hot here, and my middle school team that I coach just started their first practice today, and that's actually where I got my start too. So that's why I coach middle school, is I have just this soft spot and love for that age, because that's where I started running track as an 8th grader, just kind of not knowing what I was doing, just jumped in because everybody else was running in a big circle, and I was like, I could do that. Like, I'm not very coordinated. I played softball growing up, but I just wanted to stand in the back or in the outfield and eat sunflower seeds. And I would stand in the outfield, eat as many sunflower seeds as possible, and just pray that the ball wouldn't come to me, because I was like, please don't come to me. I'm afraid of the ball. So I did that. I really wanted to be an Olympic gymnast when I was younger. So I didn't actually start running until 8th grade. And then I ran through high school and college, but I was just honestly an average runner. Like, I wasn't setting records. I wasn't winning anything. I was just having fun with it. I loved it. And I loved the people. I loved my teammates and that whole kind of weird vibe of runners that I felt like we were really hard workers. Like, it was really important to us to get good grades, but then also just run fast and run hard for no reason. And then after college, I started to get into marathoning. And again, it was kind of just recreational. I loved it and started to chip away at some goals. And then it kind of just started to snowball after I won a marathon in 2017 in Denver, and kind of just then started to go from there. And then now it's turned into trail and ultra and stuff like that. So it's just, honestly, that seed was planted at a young age. And I just had amazing coaches that I still keep up with to this day that just encouraged me to just you should try out for this thing called cross country. So just kind of randomly, but I just loved it then. I love it now. So I just feel lucky that I didn't overdo it as a young adult to the point where I was burnt out by the time I got to where I'm at now. So
I think that's awesome that you're paying it forward by coaching now. And I honestly, you had mentioned it being hot and you were spraying down your athletes. I think that's going to help, because you don't control the weather. So you're doing what you can. You're showing your athletes that there's a way through it, and just persevere, keep going. And day one is done. Now you guys can progress. So
yes,
good call.
Well, take me back. I want to hear about this one thing I read about you. Take me back to the Backyard Junior Olympics.
Yeah. I 1996 was the Atlanta Games.
Carrie
And
Strug.
oh, dude, honestly, Carrie Strug, Shannon Miller, Amanda Borden, Dominic Dawes, Dominic Mucciano, like they were my girls. And I'd never, I'd never seen anything like that. And I just remember watching these gymnasts and watching all that. And I was like, I need to do that. So I had this USA one-piece swimsuit, and I would just get out in my backyard, and I took this 2x4 of wood and stacked it on 2 blocks. And that was my balance beam. It was wildly unsafe. And I was like practice doing cartwheels on this. And then we had like a blue tarp that I laid out, and I would do my floor exercise routine. And mind you, I could only really do cartwheels and back bends and somersaults. So my floor exercise song was Garth Brooks' Friends in Low Places, which is painfully long to watch an 8-year-old just do somersaults too. I was just out there practicing these backyard Olympics, and then I made them this like actual event. Like this was like a 2-summer ordeal that the neighbors, we all competed. I made medals. Like we had an opening ceremony. It was elaborate. The neighbors had to come watch. So I was just like, which is really cool because now I'm running for Team USA, and it was like, wow, like, you know, my Team USA dreams came true, just not in the way I was expecting when I was, you know, rolling around doing somersaults to Garth Brooks.
All I can see is that your awesome personality stemmed from way back then. So you've been true and authentic this whole time. I absolutely love it.
You had the same childhood and the same upbringing as the two of us.
Like so fun. You're just fun, Brittany.
No cell phones, just having a blast.
Just chaos.
Well, that was the blast about being a kid back in like the 80s and 90s. Like you didn't have like all the TV, video games, phones. Like you had to go outside and occupy yourself. So why not do it
until the lights turned off?
Exactly.
Or no, you played until the street lights turned on.
Exactly. And my feet, I would come inside from playing outside all day, and my feet were black because I would just be like in the street and, you know, out all day long. That was the best.
So you grew up in Colorado, right?
I did. Yeah. Born and raised Denver native.
Right in Denver? Or like, I know a few areas, like I know Broomfield and Boulder and
technically Lakewood. So basically just Southwest Denver metro area.
I think I kind of stayed. I was just out in Colorado this year, and I was in. Oh my God! Now I'm not going to think of it.
Golden.
It was like
I think
it was south of Golden. It was like
Morrison?
maybe 10 minutes from Red Rocks. Morrison. It was like right south of Morrison. So
Morrison or Littleton.
Littleton, that's the one. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I came out there for the Revel Rockies Marathon.
Oh, yeah,
and
awesome.
it trashed my legs. Yay, but I had a good time.
Yay.
Beautiful area over there.
Yeah, I'm actually running there tomorrow. So I'm like, oh, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Very cool. Very cool.
Is that like a training run, or are you taking the middle schoolers out there?
Oh, no. Luckily, I only have my middle schoolers twice a week. I think I would kill them if we had to do more than that. But yeah, just a training run for me. I've got a hill workout tomorrow, so I will be popping out that direction.
So what's your day-to-day like then? Because you got middle schoolers 2 days a week, and you're just doing your training runs and also making cookies and other fun things.
Yeah, all the things. Obviously, like training, depending on the day, I have 1 to 2 runs. I've got strength training a couple days a week. Trail training. So I pretty much change it up between trail and road. Like I'm usually on the trails at least a couple days a week, things like that. And then, I feel like my days are really random. Like I have different adults that I coach as well. Napping today. I napped on the floor in my living room. It was like the sun, you'll get this, Erica. When the sun comes in and it's just like that nice warm spot and you just lay in that spot like a cat.
Just like a cat. Mm-hmm.
That was my day. It's a lot of eating. So it's kind of what you would imagine. And then I'm an old lady, so I go to bed like relatively early and I watch Dateline a lot. So that's me.
Fantastic. What are you training for right now?
So my big race coming up is in November. It's the World 50K Road Championships in India. So I've got those in November. I'm also racing the Twin Cities Marathon in October. And then next month I'm racing a 28K on the trails in Montana. So that big one that I'm training for is Worlds in November.
Man, they got you traveling all over the place because just from your Instagram, we saw you were just in Alaska, you were just in Spain.
Yeah.
And I mean, the Worlds have had you just in Thailand. Was it Thailand?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Thailand,
you are
Austria. Oh my gosh, it's been insane. Yeah.
Jet setter.
Yeah, it's been fun. Like I felt like I kind of got burnt out last year with the travel, but this year I'm just really enjoying it. And I think, I don't know what's different. But I'm just I'm really getting to enjoy everywhere I'm getting to go for sure.
That's great.
Thanks.
We're gonna be rooting for you for all of your upcoming stuff.
Thank you.
So we're talking about some big races. Do you remember your first big race? Maybe not as a pro, but do you remember your first marathon or your first just big event you were in? Maybe it was a college race or maybe it was after.
Yeah, I did. Well, I did Boston in 2013. So my first marathon was 2012. It was the Colorado Marathon. And it was kind of right out of college. It was like a year or two after college. And I was just so burnt out I was running like the 800 and the 1500 in college. Mm-hmm. And looking back, I definitely should have been doing like the 10K and things like that. So I was like, I'm just going to do something, another challenge that's hard. And my friend and I decided to train for a marathon. So we did the Colorado Marathon and we qualified for Boston, but I didn't even know what that meant. Like, I was like, I don't know what is the Boston Marathon? I don't know what that is. Mm-hmm. So it was kind of like those couple years of early racing, certainly well before I was running pro, was just fun because it was like I just kind of didn't know what I was doing. And it feels like even a couple years ago when I started to get into trail, that was also kind of the thing. Like, I don't even know what vert means. I don't know like what technical trail means. So it's kind of fun. So I kind of like to just change it up a little bit sometimes. And it's fun to be fresh and naive, in my opinion, of like sometimes changing it up where you're just like, you sometimes do better because you're like, I don't actually know what I'm doing. So
you just wing it.
Yeah, those I do remember. Those things. Like, I remember specifically training for that 2012 Colorado Marathon in like the heat of early spring, and we went out and we had no like hats. No, I think we brought like maybe a little water and then like one gel, and we had to like ask this lady who was watering her lawn if she could just like spray us down because we didn't know what we were doing. We had no fuel, no hydration. So it's fun. It's fun to see like how far I've come.
It's all a learning experience.
Totally.
I still feel like I'm still learning, and I've been running for a while.
We all are. 100%. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. You were actually, I think you walked on in college, right?
Yeah. So I partied my first 2 years of college pretty hard.
Don't blame you.
Well, so I was again, like I was decent in high school, but I didn't know that you could walk on. Like, I just thought if you were going to compete as a collegiate athlete, I thought you had to get recruited. So I was like, well, that's not me. Like, I'm not running that fast. So whatever. So I like partied my first couple years, and was still running, here and there, maybe like 20 miles a week, something like that. And I was dating a golfer who was on a full ride scholarship to CU in Boulder. And I remember thinking, like, I was hanging out with all of those athletes. I was hanging out with the golfers and the soccer players and the track athletes. And I was just like, I want to do that. Like, I don't want to be on the sidelines watching you golf. I want to, like, I could run. And a friend of mine was on the track team, and she helped get me in touch with the coaches, and they taught me, like, you can walk on, you just don't get paid. So that was cool. My last 2 years getting to run for CSU and just being a walk-on athlete and kind of like fulfilling that dream. I'd always wanted to be a collegiate athlete, but I didn't think that I could ever do it because I just was like, I'm not fast enough.
Well, you proved him wrong. There you go.
Well, sort of. I haven't did anything in college, but it was a good experience.
Yeah, because you think you kind of found your stride later after college. Like, were you working a full-time job?
Yeah. So I was, when I graduated college, I got my first big kid job was selling strollers. So I was selling like high-end baby gear, and I would only wear high heels because I had a complex about being short and that nobody, like buyers, wouldn't take me seriously. So I was like selling these high-end baby strollers for like years out of college, wearing high heels, this whole thing. I was running the whole time. And then I ended up getting a job at OtterBox back in I
Like
worked
the
in
cell
New
phone
Zealand
case?
for this company. Yep. And then got a job doing marketing for OtterBox, which is where my husband still works. And that's where we met. And I was doing that honestly all through my 20s. I was in sales and marketing all through my 20s and still running kind of behind the scenes. And then I was just kind of chipping away at these goals behind the scenes, running on my lunch breaks and then getting up really early to run, things like that. And just I was just using like online training plans. I was using like Hal Higdon's training plans online and just kind of making it work with what I could while I had a full-time job. So I did that all through my 20s, and it wasn't until I quit my job to pursue running full-time when I was 29. So a lot later in life for a runner, I would say.
That gives me hope. I'm 37.
Yeah.
I'm like, no,
It's all possible. It's all possible.
What was that like, quitting your job and benefits and everything to become a runner, a pro? And did you have a path already, or like, I'm just going to try this and knock on the door and see what opportunities come?
Yep. I luckily I'd met my husband at OtterBox, and we decided, I was just really unhappy in my job, and I knew that I wanted to give it a crack at running professionally. But I had just won a race in Denver, my first marathon that I won, and I ran a 2:52, and I was like, great, I should quit my job. Which for anybody, just that context, 2:52, I wouldn't recommend that you just quit your job for that. But I just was like, I have to do this. And my husband was like, I'm going to support you. Like, we're going to figure this out. And I remember, so I wanted to, I was pursuing running and comedy at the same time. And I told myself I have 6 months to be an Olympian and on SNL. And if I don't do those things in 6 months, then I'll go back. So I feel like I just like busted my ass just trying to like make things start moving and start like chipping away and putting things in motion. And I had met my coach at the time also. So I had that backing also, but looking back, on paper, I should not have done that. Like that was so risky and like not really appropriate. But now looking back, I mean, it's been 6 years since I quit my job, and I'm like, that was the best thing I could have done. Like, it's been rough, and there's been rough patches, and it's been hard, and it hasn't been smooth, but man, I'm stoked that I took that leap and where I'm at today.
And you were going to like a legit comedy school.
Yeah,
so you were really pursuing your two loves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was living in Chicago before we got married, like a year before, and I was studying at Second City in Chicago, and graduated from their writing program and was doing improv at different theaters. And then when I came back to Denver, I was performing and teaching improv. And then I also, like a year after that, I had my own show. I had like my one-woman comedy show that was about my running. So yeah, I was really trying to like hit the ground with both passions. And it's been, I like do miss, I was telling a friend this weekend, I really miss performing. And I think like I need to get that back in my life. Cause that's something that I just like really loved and really do miss. It is hard trying to juggle, trips to Spain with rehearsals and late night comedy schedule. So hopefully maybe next year I can kind of start peppering that in again.
How cool. I applaud you for taking the leap, because it takes a lot of guts to do that, and it has worked out, at least the running part. I'm very happy to see that.
Thank you. I'm grateful to my husband. Like, it wouldn't have happened without him, and without him being like, yeah, we can totally make this work. So yeah.
He has a nickname too, right?
The Jusband, because his name is Justin and he's my husband. So he's lovingly known as the Jusband.
I have to say, every time I hear that, I think of like, there was a random clip, and it had something to do with like GIFs versus GIFs. And there's a guy who's like, you don't just call it the Guardians of the Galaxy. And and whenever I see like the Javelina 100, I always say it like the Javelina 100. I'm
Me
like,
too.
It's
Yes.
just how my brain works.
We can call him Huston the Husband, and we'll mess with everybody's brains. Yeah.
I'm totally on board, though. That's fantastic.
That was
Where
fun.
are we at? We've been like all over this place.
Let's stay all over
I'm
the
gonna move
place.
myself so I can plug my phone in because
Oh,
Go for
absolutely.
I'm all here.
I'll give you a sec. I'm gonna go with the. Should we jump into the funny runner business?
Oh yeah. Well, I promised her we'd have fun.
Oh hell yeah! Okay,
I'm so
Hang
excited
on.
about this.
I think this is gonna flip. Ah shit. Okay, here we go. Oh my god, sorry guys. I feel like such a like, rookie with this technology. I told you as an old
we're rookies
lady.
too. We're still rookie. You know, in a way, like we've done this for a year and a half. But you said something earlier that clicked with me. God, I would have to go back, but it had something to be like, oh, you felt like, did you say you feel like, not that you didn't belong, but you're just kind of figuring it out? I'm like, we're the same. We're just kind of figuring it out.
Yeah,
A lot of times
and, like,
we just wing it.
yeah, and that's like, well, that's improv, right? Like that's, I mean, that's
my
the
God,
fun
it
of it. Also,
is.
is yeah, totally.
All
I
right.
can't say I'm
Yeah.
good at improv stuff. I'm like, if I don't have these notes, I'm like, oh my God. Sometimes my brain just like shuts off and I get like the frozen, like we just did an interview before this and like my internet just died and I was frozen on screen, but at least I had a smile on my face, he said.
This was her.
Perfect.
This was her
Yeah.
face the whole time.
So at least it wasn't like a weird something face, but
Yeah, that happened. Mm-hmm.
All right.
All right.
Funny one part, Erica.
we got to get into this funny runner business. I'm so excited. So you had mentioned before that you are really into running with costumes, and I'm just so interested in finding out how the funny runner started. So go ahead and tell us about that.
Yep. So, like I mentioned, sales and marketing background. So when I quit, I remember thinking, and like right before I quit my job, I was like, well, if anybody asks me what my job is, I need to give them my elevator pitch. And if I am like, well, I'm kind of this person who runs, and then I'm also kind of pursuing comedy, but it's not stand-up comedy. It's like sketch comedy and improv comedy. I was like, nope, I need something quick. I need something like catchy. And I also felt like I needed to legitimize myself of like, this is a real thing, because to my knowledge, nobody was doing what I was doing and nobody was pursuing these two things. So I invented the funny runner. And I made myself a logo. My license plates say funny runner. Like it's a little bit ridiculous. But it was kind of just like, originally it was because I was like, I want to be comedy. I want to do comedy and run. And now it's just turned into like, oh, that can mean whatever I want. Like, it doesn't mean I have to be actively doing comedy. I can like wear costumes. That's funny. Or like, just do anything that kind of brings me joy or like sparks laughter or things like that. So, that's kind of where it's evolved to, but it was just because I invented this to have some legitimacy.
I have to say, out of the costumes I've seen of yours, besides the lobster, which was fantastic, is Abraham Lincoln. Like, how do you actually go around to, like, you had the full facial hair and beard and stuff. That shit's itchy.
Yeah.
Give me credit.
Yeah. And that hat does not stay on well. The tuxedo isn't the most easy thing to run in. But I'm committed. When it's a costume, I'm committed.
I can't imagine that thing's breathable, so you must have been like...
There's probably a reason Abe Lincoln was not a marathoner. So,
that's fair.
I mean, he had other things he was solving, but yeah. Mm-hmm.
Do you make these on your own? Do you order them? How do you come up with the concepts?
Sometimes they're if I can try to make them, I kind of prefer that. Sometimes it's more fun. I like to thrift shop. I like to like pull costume pieces for all of my Disney costumes that I did for each race. Those were all homemade, which was actually a fun process and a fun creative project to do, that especially during my taper when my mileage is lower and my brain starts to like question things or kind of spiral down, the what if rabbit hole. It was kind of this like project that I was just like, nope, I'm just focused on ironing on these little tiny glitter things on my Elsa costume, or things like that. But sometimes I'll get pieces ordered online. Like I ordered Elvis online for several occasions. Sometimes you kind of just have to like go spring for the good stuff at Party City. I did say recently, somebody asked if you could be sponsored by any brand in the whole world, what would you pick? And I said Party City. Because I was like,
that is
that'd
the
be
most
amazing.
original
Like
answer.
like you
So
get
original.
candy and costumes and balloons, I'm in.
I could see you doing a costume once with like the balloons and just being like the house from Up or something.
Totally. Yes.
How cute.
So you and your coach, and you mentioned your coach earlier, you two plan your workouts and your runs around like weekly themes and these costume runs, right?
Kinda, yeah. It depends on like the time of season. I did really heavily in the springtime. I was training for the 50K road championships, which were in March. So I wasn't on the trails, and I mean, anybody that runs road knows it can get pretty monotonous if you let it. So I picked different themes every week for my road running training because it got me to run different places or in different costumes or listening to different things on my runs, like with podcasts or sound or playlists that I maybe wouldn't have. And it just kind of changes it up. So it depends on like the week and the training cycle, but it'll either be different themes. Now it's kind of gotten like a little more heady and artsy and like more internal, that kind of thing. Like I feel like, kind of a crazy art student in that sense versus just like outward themes like I used to do. But sometimes I'll throw those in and they're just so fun. Like leading up to that race, I did Bob Seger week because Bob Seger's the man. And so I dedicated an entire week to him. So I went for a run at night because I was had night moves. There was one workout I did. It was like a 400-meter repeat, and I only listened to Bob Seger songs. So it was pretty rad.
I love it. Oh my gosh.
There's something the two of you have in common, by the way, is you both ran, or actually, I don't know, Brittany, if you ran, but you both recently dressed up as Barbie.
I saw Barbie 3 times last week.
3 times?
Did you?
Last week?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I
loved it.
I just did an ultra and I decided to dress in all pink. Like I had a pink sparkly skirt. So I was ultra Barbie and I got so many people around who would just yell, "Hi Barbie." And I would yell, "Hi Barbie," right back at them.
Hi, Barbie.
And it gave me life. I was so excited about it. I had to go see it to do research because I thought of the idea and then I'm like, well, I don't want to be like a phony and not know what I'm talking about. So I went and I saw it and 5 thumbs up. I don't have enough.
It's so good. Weird Barbie spoke to me. I was like, I am Weird Barbie. And I dressed up as Weird Barbie.
It was amazing.
Because I loved her. She was everything.
Immaculate. I saw, plus you made your own sweatshirt.
I did.
I am Kenough.
Yep.
Oh my God. Everything about that was fantastic. The movie was great. I'm glad you resonated with it too. So I'm not alone.
Same. Yes. Thank you. This brings me immense joy. Cats and Barbie, we are gold.
I knew we'd be friends, Brittany. I knew it. I just
100%. 100%.
We're gonna have to do the next one in person. This is awesome. What about voice impersonations? Not like people, but you can do pretty good accents.
Well, sometimes they're not. I like to claim that, sort of. They're very janky. Like, I might be doing the German accents, yeah, but they might not be the perfect kind, and yeah. Or I might switch to Anna Delvey, and she's like, "Are you pregnant or are you still very, very fat?" So I try, and then my best friends are British, so I'll go over there and accost these poor Brits with my accent, and they're like appalled. But so sort of, but my accents are quite janky.
That's amazing.
I saw that reel. I probably watched that one 3 times in 3 minutes. I thought it was awesome. Oh, I love what you're putting out there. It's awesome. It's funny. It's fitting for you and your personality. I love it.
Hold on. Since we're talking about weird videos and stuff, can you tell me the thought and reasoning behind your flamingo party?
Yeah, the phallic flamingo party.
I feel like you knew that was coming.
Oh, yeah, she's like, oh, shit, it's coming.
I knew it. Mm-hmm.
The phallic flamingo party.
Part of me is like, oh, shit. And then part of me is like, oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah. Because we were in Spain. Anybody that's listening to this, I really encourage you to go onto my Instagram. You'll see the flamingo video and it's 1 minute and 43 seconds. just watch it. So we did a costume day. We hosted with this company called Blue Sky Trucking. We hosted 3 weeks in Spain, and did a costume day each week that we had. And I had found this ridiculous flamingo costume. Flamingos have really been speaking to me lately. So I found this flamingo costume, in Spain, and the neck comes from the waist. So naturally, and then the head comes over your own head. Like, it's really phallic. And so it was like it was probably like a 4-hour hike that day. So, and it was hot and things just got weird, and it turned into a phallic flamingo party. I'm not sure quite what happened, but that video brought me a lot of joy. And I was like, this is me in a flamingo form.
Everybody seemed on board with it, though. I was very glad to see it.
They were. It was amazing. I was so grateful that people played along. But to anybody who watches it, like, I'm sorry and you're welcome all at the same time.
I have to say I watched it a couple of times because the first time I was like, what is happening? And then I was kind of like, this is fun.
If you want even weirder, I don't know if you happen to have seen my presidential first lady's rap. That's also
I'm not
great
sure.
one.
I will have to dig.
That's on my YouTube page. You can YouTube it. It's also ridiculous. My husband was away for a weekend, and that was what happened. I was in 48 different costumes in my own room, my own like costume room. Did this presidential first lady's rap. Like, it was, I don't know.
So I have not seen it yet, but the effort I imagine that went behind that is immense. 48 different costumes. So I'll give you a round of applause for that. Brittany, oh my God. So all those awesome costumes that you made, you talked about making an Elsa costume. Those all went towards your 2022 Dopey challenge. So tell everybody about that. We know the outcome. I fangirled about it. I mean, if our fans listened, they know what happened, but I want to hear it from you.
I think it's episode 7, by the way.
6, actually.
Really?
I think we talked about it with Denise. So I think it was a long time ago.
Yeah.
Very early for us.
We were so fresh, Brittany. We had one microphone sitting around a table, and
we didn't even edit. We were that early.
My stuff's not edited. I fully support it. Yes. So last year I ran the 2022 Dopey Challenge at Disney World in Florida, which is so they have a 5K, a 10K, a half marathon, and a full marathon. And if you run all 4, it's called the Dopey Challenge because it's pretty dopey to run 48.6 miles in 4 days. And I had just come off of an injury and a DNF at the Boston Marathon that fall because it was COVID time. So I had started the Boston Marathon and had to DNF. And I was just like, I just don't want my season to end like that. I was putting a lot of pressure on myself because I was racing elite at the Boston Marathon. And I was like, I don't want this to be the end of this story and the end of this training cycle. So I got with my coach and I was like, asked, kind of just her thoughts on what do you think about running Dopey? Because I'd run at Disney before and loved it. Those were my people. And it was just like joyful. And the Dopey Challenge was going to be something like a new challenge. So I ran all 4 days in a row. So it's, you get up at 3 a.m., you race at 5 a.m. every single morning for 4 days in a row. You run a 5K, 10K, half marathon, and full marathon. I was in costume for each of the days as different characters, and I ended up winning all of them. And I was the first person to do that.
The Dopey Sweep.
Dopey Sweep. So it was just really special. Like, that is just something that, like, I have a tattoo from it because
I was going to ask.
Oh, no way.
It's so cool.
Yeah, those are all my costumes that I did because it just was so special. And it was just a reminder that cool things can happen. You can do big shit. It can be different if you're just tapping into your authenticity. And that for me was just like so authentic. But I hadn't gone into those races with the intention of winning because I was just like, I just want to like be in my happy place. I want to run in costume. And I knew that that was obviously a possibility, but I was like, I don't want to show up here with the expectation that I like I'm going to or have to win. So it all just kind of came together. It was honestly, like, cliche as it sounds, super magical. And I just like that's still just like career highlight for sure.
I think that's the coolest thing.
What were your days like? Because like you said, 3 a.m. wake up call, 5 a.m. race. what were you doing after the race for recovery? Were you just like going back and jumping in compression boots and relaxing? Or were you going in the parks and checking out Mickey Mouse and Minnie and going on the rides and everything? What were you doing?
Well, I was at Disney. I wasn't going to just like hang around.
Yes, absolutely.
That's what we wanted to hear.
Yeah. So one of the days I had gone to, one of our friends is the one of the like main guys that run Disney. So he took us around to all of the resorts. So we got to like tour all the resorts, which was really cool. We got a Dole Whip there, so that was fun. Went to their house for lunch another day. Yeah, kind of just like cruised around. We didn't do the parks, any of the parks on any of the race days or after the races until the day after. We got a VIP tour the day after the marathon. So that was cool. That was when we did like all the park stuff after. But yeah, we just like cruised around and like did stuff. I think maybe after the half marathon, I was a little more low key just before the marathon day. But yeah, I was too excited because I was at Disney.
I don't
favorite
blame you.
Disney park. What's your favorite park?
Well,
or ride?
Epcot's rad because of the
Epcot
margaritas.
is rad.
But,
Around the world.
Oh man, that I do enjoy. But I think the ride it's the Avatar ride.
Oh, really? Which one?
I loved it.
Yeah,
the one where like
cool.
You're sitting on like a crotch rocket and the thing's breathing.
Yes, no, it was epic. It was so cool. Here's my only thing about it. I waited for 3 hours and I was like, I don't know if I'd wait 3 hours again for that.
I had a VIP tour.
Oh my God.
So we didn't have to wait.
Nice flex.
So that's probably why I liked it. I know. I'm sorry. That was so bougie.
No,
yeah.
You're good. That wasn't there when I went. That was not even there yet.
The Avatar world was so cool, but I would even say the better ride at Animal Kingdom was the roller coaster, the Everest ride, only because I had no line, maybe.
That's a great one. Actually, my favorite of all time is Tower of Terror. I'll ride that thing over and over and over. I love Tower of Terror.
You should see the photo. If I find this when I'm editing, I'll be like, oh, I got to send Brittany the photo. I'm going to DM you a photo of me and my daughter on that ride. It was a whole story. We waited in line to go on that ride. It broke. So then on our last day, I did like a speed pass for it. And we went back to just MGM. I call it MGM. That's how old I am. It's now Hollywood Studios, right?
Yeah.
And we go there to get on the ride and it's broken down again. And we waited until the last minute and it finally opened with like 15 minutes to go in the park. And we got on and the picture is just, I mean, talk about my daughter one time being like so excited and just holding on to me and so scared.
Oh,
and
amazing.
It's the best
you have
photo.
To find this photo.
Yes, I'm going to send it your way. And the Tower of Terror, you'll love this, was lit up as a gingerbread house.
Oh,
cute.
That's amazing.
Because it was Christmas time.
Oh, I love that. I mean,
Yep.
Disney does things right. They just hit it.
I think my favorite ride, Erica, and it has nothing to do with that. I am in love with Gamora right now, but it was Guardians of the Galaxy. I went on that ride without even seeing the Guardians of the Galaxy movie, and I'm like, that ride was awesome.
Do you mean Guardians of the Galaxy?
Yes. Thank you very much. But these rides were not around the last time I went. So I did Dopey back in 2017. That was
amazing.
one of my first like big adventures kind of into like longer distance running. And I went with my sister. We had an absolute blast. We did like 2 full days of Disney in the middle of the races, and we did like a Harry Potter like Universal excursion, and I mean those were like weren't around, the Avatar and the Guardians. But my favorite is the Aerosmith ride. That just like rockets you through and
rock and roller coaster or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's the only ride she wasn't tall enough to go on.
Oh, bummer.
Yeah, she missed it by like 2. I think it's because it goes upside down. She had to be an extra 2 inches taller, and I don't know. Maybe she was 44. She had to be 46. She was able to do everything but that ride, which Aerosmith, I love, the greatest rock band of all time, and they're from. Anyone want to take a guess where they're from?
New Hampshire.
New Hampshire.
Are they?
Yep.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's amazing.
Yep. They even recorded some of their albums up here on Lake Sunapee. So.
That's cool.
Yep. Yeah, everyone thinks they're from Boston because that's where they bought a tiny little apartment and played in the apartment, and they're the bad boys of Boston. So it's just a whole New England vibe, but they're from here. I've seen them a few times. Awesome band and amazing ride. So
Amazing. Well, you'll have to, yeah. So then have you been on it?
yes. Well,
Okay.
it's been about 20 years.
It still holds up.
Yeah. We might be going back in a few months to go to Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party. Just me and my daughter, just for like 3 days. She doesn't know.
Okay.
So
Okay.
we might be going back. We're either going to do it this year or next year, but
Cool.
maybe she'll be tall enough by then.
I hope
Hopefully.
so.
Yeah, that would be it.
She's 7 now, right? So they grow pretty fast at that point.
Yeah. Gonna just put her on some thicker, some shoes with more rubber on the
Get
bottom.
her some UFOs. Get her UFOs.
We'll get her some UFOs.
Yeah.
That
or
shit's
just some
like
Hokas.
bam.
Yeah.
That too.
No free ads,
She'll be good.
UFOs, but we love you.
Fantastic. Keep going with the costume thing. Oh, wait.
No, well, you have this thing, like so many things bring you joy, whether it is art or cookies or presidents like Abe Lincoln, and Abe happens to be on the penny.
He does.
You love pennies. Where did this penny obsession come from? Oh, are you pulling out a penny right now?
I'm not kidding. There's one in my pocket. I found it. I got it. Yeah, I had that. I found it during middle school coaching. I love pennies. Yeah, I've always. I don't know. I mean, I remember finding pennies when I was younger. But then once I started running, it was kind of always my thing. And it just is like, so I didn't really race this summer. I just kind of played and ran whatever I felt like. And there was probably a good 2 to 3 weeks where every morning I would just get up and go find a different neighborhood, and I would street sweep, which is what I call it. So I just like run up one side of the street and then I come over and run the other side of the street. And I just like go up and down these streets just looking for change. But it just brings me a lot of joy just finding these, like, it's like treasure hunting, basically. You're just like, you never know what you're going to find. You never know how much you're going to get. You're almost always going to find something, but it also just helps keep me present on the run. Like if I'm just like out there and like, I don't really feel like running, I'm always down to street sweep. Like I'm always down to go look for change. So, and now it's just become, I've just done it for so many years that I just love it. And I pick up other change. I will definitely pick up quarters, nickels, and dimes too.
Erica, check this out. Sharing the screen here. Look
Holy
at this.
shit.
Yeah.
How much
pennies.
is that?
So that picture that you're looking at, so it's a picture of me with stacks. I look like Ebenezer Scrooge. I've got like all these stacks of pennies. That was in 2020. So
And
that was right.
Sweater.
Yeah, I mean that's a whole other thing. It was COVID, and so I was like, it was at the point where we were all so bored. So I decided I was going to count and sort all of my change. That took me 16 hours. To sort. Like I sorted them by decade for some reason.
Unidentifiable.
Those were all the pennies that were smashed. Like I couldn't tell what year it was, or like even if it was a penny. I don't even remember how much I found that year. It was insane. Yeah, it was. I also sorted my pennies, and I would like write something about it. Yeah, so I've been finding change for years. I dressed as Abe Lincoln and went to Mount Rushmore. It's quite a thing.
How much do you think you found over the years?
So I do count my change every year. I count my running change every year. And I don't count it until the end of the year because like I do it on January 1st because it brings me a lot of joy to see how much I found. And I like to prove to people when they say that pennies don't add up or you don't make very much money as a runner. I like to stick it to them by being like, I made $58 last year, sucker.
Right.
Which then one year I was like stoked to tell everybody how much I made, but it was only like $37. And so I was like, it sounded really dismal. But so the next year I tallied every single penny, nickel, dime. And because I wanted to show like I found like 7,000 pennies. Like it was like something absurd. To show like how much work I was putting in.
Seriously. Do you do anything special with the money that you make from the running?
Now
street sweeping.
Yeah, now with my street sweeping money, I invest it in Robinhood, which is an app. It's a stock app because I like to now think my running change is working for me. So I invest in companies that I like. So I have stock in Disney, Tempur-Pedic, North Face, obviously, Invisalign. Like I invested more in Cricut, like the Cricut machine, because that's how I make my
just
costumes.
bought one.
They're amazing.
I bought one for my wife's birthday, and I'm like, I'll just be honest, I'm getting it for me too.
You won't regret it. It's the best thing in the world. That's how I made my Barbie sweatshirt. Was my Cricut machine.
Fantastic.
I'm gonna make you an on the runs t-shirt. When the first one I make, you're getting one.
I'll
sending it your way.
happily wear it. 100%.
Yes. Tell me, what have the pennies taught you?
So many things. It's interesting that pennies can teach you something if you're just looking for it. So my pennies for me have always been affirmations that I'm on the right path. So anytime I'm looking for pennies, especially if I'm just like struggling through something or just kind of in that, just looking for like a sign, I will, as soon as I'm thinking of something or I have a thought, there's a penny. And that's like kind of my affirmation, like, yep, I'm on the right path. And for me, they're also just like symbols. So I sort them into jars. I have this little Abe Lincoln bobblehead that sits next to these jars that I'm watching. Like, it's really, really fun for me to watch these pennies grow over the year. Because it's like proof, like, yes, little things do add up. Even when you think that they don't, these little tiny decisions, these little tiny pieces of progress really do add up. And here's proof. Kind of what I like about it. And also, like, you can find joy in just the simplicity. Like, it doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to be anything over the top. It's just those little pieces. Oh my gosh, we have 2 new guests.
Yay!
That's Bill Clinton, and then over by the window.
Yes. I love it. Yeah, I shut the door. Mine aren't going to make an appearance, but I'm glad yours did.
Detour. Sorry.
I love the lessons behind it, because you're right. It does show you like little things add up, and not to give up, just to keep going on your path, and things will work out. So yeah, in our show notes, I was laughing. He goes, "Can you read these over and just see if these look okay?" And I'm reading, and he has under here, pennies are like opportunities, but he had a typo. Sometimes he does, but it said pennies are like opportunitits. I had to be like,
pennies are like opportunitits.
I'm like, you may want to check the spelling on that one, because I didn't know. He got it from like your website, and I was like, is that a typo or not a typo?
Oh, I hope that's on my website. If it is, I'm leaving it 100%.
I have a feeling it was him, so I don't.
It was totally me.
But I thought it was great. Gave me a nice laugh this afternoon.
Nope, you spelled it correct. You did not have a typo, Brittany.
Oh, dang it. Okay.
You can always go back and change it.
Hire him to be your new social media manager.
I'm going to hire you to put some Freudian slips in there.
I have a marketing degree. I can go and mess around here and mess things up. I've never used it. This is the first time I'm using my marketing degree, doing a podcast.
Perfect.
It's working out. Yeah. That's so good.
All right. I'm taking it back a little serious, but kind of funny. An injury was like a blessing, right? How did an injury turn into a blessing for you?
There's been a few times that injuries have been a blessing. It's funny that you're bringing that up now, because I feel like I'll get to it. So I've had I obviously am, and I'm sure runners can relate to this. When I get latched onto something, I go full throttle, sometimes too much. And I don't listen to the whispers until I hit a brick wall. And my first actual big injury was in 2014 when I was selling strollers. I was wearing high heels so much, like I said, that I was running a lot. I was only wearing high heels, and I was just like not taking care of myself. I really wasn't eating very well, and I had a stress fracture in my pelvis because of all of that.
Oh my God.
So that was, and I was living in New Zealand at the time, and that was like my first really big injury that for me was like, you got to take care of running. Like, you got to take care of your body if you're going to really keep running in your life. And so I started working on strength training back then, because it was just, and like I was like, I can't lose running again. Like, I love it too much. I don't want to do this. So that was in 2014. 2018 or 2019, something like that. Doesn't matter. I had a back injury, like an SI joint injury, and I had gone to the London Marathon to compete. And my coach and I decided the night before that I had to pull out because I just like, I could hardly walk, so I couldn't run the London Marathon. And that's where these themes were born, was because I was like working so hard. I was pushing so hard to, and this was early in my career, to be this like professional runner that I thought I should be and had to be. And I was like, I'm not having fun. Like, this is just not, like, I'm working so hard, I'm getting an injury, and I'm just like not having fun. And that's where the themes were built, was like, we just went to a coffee shop and I said, can I just like, can you give me a theme every week? And my job is just to like do my running, but incorporate it in. Like, that would be really fun. So that's where those were born. Like I mentioned before, when I got injured for Boston, I got hit by I collided with an off-leash husky 10 days before the Boston Marathon. I was doing a speed workout at my park, this local park that I do like all my speed workouts in. And this off-leash husky, as I was going full throttle, he was going full throttle, and we collided. And I like flipped up into the air and got like messed up my back, got a concussion, and was still kind of messed up from the Boston Marathon. That's why I had a DNF, and then there came Dopey. And now after, it's so funny that you're bringing this up, because I'm starting week 2 for this world's training for India. And in June, I competed for the world trail team in Austria, and I had to DNF at mile 22. And it was this big dramatic thing. I got airlifted off the mountain. Like, I got this like huge medical bill that was addressed to Brittany Charboneau from Austria. Like, it was like so ridiculous. But now, like, I'm looking at that and like, I wasn't injured, but I do think I kind of had a mental injury. In the sense of like, I pushed so hard. I kind of know my limits physically, but then I think mentally I was pushing really hard. And that's kind of what I'm trying to protect this season, is my mental side of things. And I think like that that's just as important. And I think like I'm kind of pulling back on putting that pressure. So I don't know what's going to creatively come from that, but I know that this season coming off of Austria will have some sort of difference or change or something, because I've proven that before. And that's like kind of almost what I need, unfortunately, is like some of these like brick walls to get me back on my like, nope, like keep looking for your pennies, keep doing your thing. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. So we'll see what, I mean, maybe the flamingo is already kind of like the absurdity. Like, I'm letting myself get weird.
Stay weird.
Thanks.
But that kind of brings us into some of your art, because I saw that you will use art kind of as like a coping not a coping mechanism, but just like something to help you decompress and help
something that brings you joy.
Yeah,
totally.
Yeah.
It does all those things, and I've really leaned into that. Maybe over the last year, especially. So I do digital collage. I call it Frankenstein art, because basically I just piece together images that I find like from the internet, and I piece them together, I Photoshop them together to make weird things. But it brings me joy. Sometimes I do art to capture, like to recap my week. Sometimes I do other, like I'll pick like, I wonder what Dolly Parton would look like if she was running, or I wonder what I would look like if I was Bob Seger. Just all kinds of different things that either express how I'm feeling or just are like funny and weird and just bring me joy. Just kind of anything like that. Oh man, these are some old images. I've gotten really good at my art.
Who's this guy here? I'm sharing the screen. This is a new thing I'm learning on podcasting. Who's this guy here in the mountains looking over you?
Is that John Denver?
That's John Denver.
Oh, that was a random guess, but I don't want to get up real close to my phone, because then that's all you'll see is my face like zoomed in.
So
that was a good guess.
So those are the Maroon Bells in Colorado, and I set the fastest known time on this like famous loop there. And John Denver was like, he loved Aspen, he loved Colorado, but he was not actually from Denver or Colorado, but he loved it so much he called himself that. So I liked to think that he was peeking over the mountains looking at me.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Is that where he got his inspiration for? He does Rocky Mountain High, right?
He does. He does. And he does Country Roads. Yeah, I mean, he's got some bangers.
Yeah.
The Rock
definitely.
and Oprah. I like that.
Yeah.
The Rock and Oprah. This one though might be my favorite. Too Fast to Be Food.
So that's a mountain lion who is a state trooper. And when I first started running trails, I was afraid to run in the mountains because I was afraid of mountain lions and I was afraid of nature. And so I convinced myself, like, okay, well, if I run fast, the mountain lions won't want me because I'll be too fast to be food. So that's what that is. These are like older, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I forgot how
awesome
great these
stuff.
are.
This is great stuff.
Thanks.
I love it. I love it. Joy, bitches. Oh, that's a good.
Yeah, that's
It's
the Queen of England. God rest her soul.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. That is cool. No, you do a lot of cool stuff. You also do the cookies. You do well, we talked about the pennies already, but you do your cookies, they're all like fun designs and everything too, and like arty.
Well,
is arty a word?
Arty's a word. Yeah, my husband has his own cookie business called Sugar Tats Cookies, and he started that during the pandemic as well. And originally we were doing what were called rookie cookies. And basically with every order, you got a free rookie cookie. Because he started doing these cookies, and I was like, and I think everybody has this thought when they see sugar cookies decorated, they're like, that cannot be that hard. And you try it, and it's devastatingly hard. So I would just like replicate his cookies, and I was abysmal. But then I started to get really good because I started to practice a lot, and I started to learn the techniques. So now it's not funny because it's like I got really good at it. So I don't really do them anymore because I actually was like, there was a while that we did side-by-side challenges, and it said rookie or like something like rookie or cookie. And sometimes people couldn't tell the difference. Like, that's how good I got. So we had to stop. I know. I'm flexing again.
No, I love it. I love it.
Flex.
I am not skilled whatsoever at sugar cookies. Like, I have no skill. And I have tried because I've done like random cookie parties with friends, and just I commend you guys. It is a tough business.
He's amazing. He's the one that's like really, really talented at it. So and it's nice. I've always got a constant supply of carbs. So
move over, husband. Here comes Brittany.
Get out of here.
I would love to talk about, before we let you go, about your trail running. So how originally did you get into trail running, and what brought you to the Worlds? Like you were telling us that Team USA like brought you all over the place. So I want to hear more about that too.
Yeah, so 2020 was a big year because I ran the Olympic trials for the marathon. And I had a great result there. I finished 13th. I had a new PR. Like it was just a really great race for me. And that was February 29th, 2020. Literally the next week, COVID hit.
Just right before. That's right.
I was like, I know what road races I'm going to be doing this year. Like I had my year mapped out, and then COVID pumped the brakes on that. And
had it right
out.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, well, I still want to like keep my fitness up. I want to like try different goals. So I worked on for like 6 weeks. I practiced my 1 mile. I had a goal to, ever since I was like in high school, college, I always wanted to break 5 minutes in the mile. And so I did that for 6 weeks and like ran a fast mile. And then, I had kind of dabbled in trail before, but there were now these things called, FKTs, or fastest known times. And I, of course, again, this naive side, I was like, I don't know what that is. Like, what's the Boston Marathon? What's an FKT? And the Maroon Bells, there's that. So it's a 27-mile loop across these 4 mountain passes that John Denver looks over. And I was like, well, I'll go for that. Like, so I kind of just started setting these records on the trails, not really knowing, like, I don't know, like, I'm just running fat. I'm just running, like, I don't know. And really started to love it. And the trail community, if no one has done a trail race, like, stop everything you're doing and sign up for a trail race. The trail community is everything. Like, it's as dirtbaggy and lovely and welcoming as you'd expect. And everyone is just like, it's just so much less pressure in a sense. Like I certainly built pressure up for Worlds. But it's just, I mean, you can't go by time. Like there's no reason to check splits. Like the mountain dictates the effort. So I just started to get into that world and I felt really welcomed. I really loved it. I enjoyed it. It was good for me mentally to let go of training by splits and all of those things that I was accustomed to on the roads. So just kind of started from there, and then just had a good rest of the year in 2020, and then ended up getting picked up by North Face. So I've been with them for the past 3 years. Sorry, Bill Clinton is not scratching. Bill Clinton! He's scratching everything. Oh.
That's why I kick my cat out of the room, because Maisie has claws and like this desk is destroyed. So I get it.
Maisie also likes to show her ass. So
Scooter already did earlier today.
That's amazing. So I've just been in that now.
So to interrupt you for a sec, the that FKT of the bells, was that your first ultra that you tried, or were there other races that, like, something else that brought you into the ultra world?
I guess that would classify as a first ultra. I never thought about that, actually. Like, I guess that does qualify. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess so. Then because then I did a 50K the next spring, and that was on trail. So that was like officially into the ultra scene. But I guess that would qualify as that.
That's exciting. But you like the ultra distance now, because I see you do a lot of you just had like an excellent 50 miler like not too long ago. And by the way, I saw your feet and my feet look just like that. I'm missing toenails and they're gross. And it makes me feel better that I'm not alone.
I do so last year I did my first 50 miler, and then I qualified for the 50 mile team for the World Championships in Thailand last fall. I wouldn't say that 50 milers are my jam. Like I definitely am probably steering clear of those for a while. But I'm back on like 50Ks, marathons, especially on trail. I really, really love that distance, but I think I didn't love the training for 50s, so I think I'm going to just stay a little bit lower in distance for now.
It's a lot to do that kind of shit.
Yeah.
You're not looking for that picture, are you, Eric?
I was. You caught me.
If you scroll through my Instagram, you'll find toenails that have pig ears on them, because it says this little piggy went to Thailand or something. It's like, it's bad.
Viewer beware.
Oh, I won't waste the time, but I believe you. I believe I don't know if this is a good or bad thing. I learned how I can share screen and do all that. And all right. Well, since we're talking about that, we have these two final big questions. They're a big deal, huge questions. Okay. And maybe Erica will go on after about something else. Who knows? My question, and I'm going to share the screen, is I go creeping through your Instagram and I try to find a photo, and I want to hear the story behind the photo. I didn't creep too far in yours, and I'll be honest, this one, it actually tricked me, because when I showed it to Erica, she goes, "Oh, I think she's in one of those sideway rooms." But here is the photo I have.
I ruined it.
I really thought you were like jumping up funny and landing on that bed. And the caption is talking about rest days, but I wanted to hear about this photo. And yeah, Erica kind of ruined it, because I realized it's one of those sideway rooms. But tell me about maybe a little bit of the caption and the day and where you are and what you're doing.
Yep. So in this picture, I am, it looks like I'm 5 feet above a bed, like jumping onto the bed, like full belly flop onto the bed. And it was actually the Denver Selfie Museum. And the whole point of this whole like museum is to go take a bunch of pictures for social media. So the picture itself, the bed was actually standing upright against the wall, and I was just jumping on the ground. And then we just turned the photo. So we just edited the photo sideways. But so there's like slippers on the ground. The slippers were actually stuck up against the wall to make it look like that.
If I was thinking with my head straight, I would have noticed the outlet on the wall right there.
Oh yeah. Oh, I didn't even notice that. And this was the husband and I had. This was like a day date for us during one of my rest days. We went to the Denver Selfie Museum and just like dicked around there. So it was fun.
Yeah, you're talking about how important rest days are and how you try to be creative with your rest days. I love that.
That would do it.
That'll do it.
I didn't find anything, too creepy. I didn't creep too far, but your Instagram is filled with...
I creeped way too far. I outdid you.
That brings me joy.
I think part of maybe what we should add to our identity, Erica, is we're fun and everything, but we fanboy and fangirl a little bit too about, with our guests because we love you guys so much. You guys are awesome. Guys and girls.
I love this.
All right. So before I get to my big question, I think we glazed over this, Eric. So we love stories that involve, we call them code browns, and it's basically just any can be like a good story that like something really bad happened. You could have shit yourself on the trail. We want to see if you have any code brown stories to share.
Yeah, it could be like running into a mountain lion. Like, oh shit, that's a code brown.
Oh shit moments. Like, yep.
Okay.
Putting you on the spot.
I'm going to just tell you this one because this is what came to mind. And I feel like y'all are my audience for this one. When I lived in Chicago, my cousin and I lived together and I needed to go for a run. But I was like, sure, I'll join you at this bar and have it was like a KU game or some basketball game. Doesn't matter. So we're at this bar and I ended up getting a little too drunk. And then I was like, I still would like to go for a run. And I went for a run and I had the booze poos so bad, but it was winter. So I was like drunk running on a run. It's winter in Chicago, so no bathrooms are open. So I went poop on a wall in the middle of Chicago. And this was at 2 p.m. on a Sunday.
2 p.m. in the middle of the daylight.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
You were day drinking too? That's awesome.
Yeah. This was pre-pro career. I mean, this wouldn't be probably out of my realm, I would say. But this was not my highlight but that was a true story. I can't wait to share this episode with my cousin.
Oh man, that's great.
I love you so much, Brittany. Oh my god.
Yeah.
That was worth an ask. Thank you for sharing. We appreciate it. That was
I wasn't expecting a true code brown.
Yeah, well, that was what I thought. So I was like, maybe that's what they want.
Yes,
so, yeah.
Honestly, yes. We dig for that, but if people don't have those kind of stories, we're like, okay, that's fine.
You came to the right place.
You delivered. Yes. You delivered. So, all right, now I'll get to my other question. So, Brittany, we have a Spotify playlist, and we like to invite our guests to add a song. So, I don't know if you listen to music while you run, but I have a feeling you're going to add a Bob Seger song. And if not, I'm adding it for you. Just whatever you like, honestly.
You have to put. It's Bob Seger. It's called Her Strut. It is a banger. It's like a wonderfully high song, surprisingly. It's one of those you're watching a movie and this badass just walks through the bar and it's all about her strut. And I specifically remember that was the song that got me going for these 400s in the winter. So add that one. It's a banger.
You got it.
I love it.
And how do I follow this Spotify playlist?
We have a link tree, a link in our Instagram bio, and it's right in there. So you can find it. We're actually working on a revamp too, because there's so many fucking songs on it that we're gonna go and pick I think 10 or 12 of our favorites, and then have all the guest ones. So it will get a revamp later, but right now it's literally 24 hours long.
Yeah, it's a big list.
This is good news because maybe we could do a collab.
Ooh.
Let me know if you're up for this challenge. So this training cycle, so tempos are my least favorite runs. Mm-hmm. And so we're trying to find ways to disguise them. Would you guys be willing to make me a playlist that I could do my workout to for Thursday? So I need 5 warm-up songs, 6 bangers, 5 cool-down songs, please. And I will use that for my workout on Thursday.
Cool down.
Do you like Top Gun?
Do I like Top Gun?
Yes.
I mean,
challenge accepted.
I did a themed race, and you have to go down more rabbit holes because I did a whole race themed around Top Gun. Like I went down a rabbit hole and learned how to do a military bun. I wore aviators and everything. This was last summer.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, there's going to be a song or two from Top Gun, and it's not going to be what you think. It's not going to be Danger Zone.
Great. I'm here for
Miami
all of it.
Time Machine.
All right.
Don't tell me more. I got to have a surprise.
I got you.
So we got 5 warm-ups, 6 bangers, and 5 cool-down songs. All right. This is an excellent challenge. I'm so excited.
And I just need it before Thursday if possible because that's when I'm doing my workout.
We are not going to work tomorrow. We're just going to be talking. What are we going to add? So, Erica, you wrote that down, right?
Yep, I have it. We will have it in your DMs. We'll send you a link to it. Oh, I'm so excited.
On the outro for this interview, we'll tell you guys what our songs are. So, this has been fun. I want to give you a few moments to do any shout outs. Do you want to pump the tires for any of your sponsors or brands or ways for people to find you and your husband's cooking company, your coaching and cheerleading? I love that you can hire Brittany to be your coach and cheerleader.
Yes. If you would like to keep up with my shenanigans, best way is my Instagram at funnyrunner26.2. I also just launched, you'll see in my link tree, I just launched a Substack newsletter that is called Own Your Weird. And that includes kind of just deeper dives into my brain a little bit. I share some of my latest art and things like that. So you can subscribe to free for that. There's no rhyme or reason to when I put those newsletters out. So just saddle in for randomness. You can follow our coaching at Mercuria Running. And then the Judgment is at Sugar Tots Cookies. I think either Sugar Tots Cookies or Sugar Tots Cookie Co. or something like that on Instagram. You'll see them. And then, I'm sponsored by North Face. I always have to plug that because I love getting to run for them. So that's me. But I appreciate anybody that's up for the journey and keeping it weird and keeping it fun. I mean, that's what we have to do.
I am all over that, Brittany.
I have 2 more things. One is about your husband's cookie company. Do cookies travel well?
Sometimes.
So if you want to order cookies, you get what I'm getting at? If someone in New Hampshire wants to order some cookies, do they travel well?
Do they travel or ship well? Yeah, depending on if you know somebody that could package them well. I got you.
Ooh, all right. Second, I just want to say thank you because you did something amazing that no one else has done for us. I will reach out on Instagram through DMs, or I'll go to websites, and Eric will be like, "We need to get Brittany one day," and I'm like, "Yes, one day. Let us get 70 episodes in and see how we do." I went to your website. And I'm looking through your website. This is a few months ago, right? And I went to contact and I wrote you a little message through your website. And I kind of forgot about it because days or weeks or time had passed. And then one day in my DMs, you DM'd me and you said, I get Brittany Charboneau, Funny Runner, sent you a message. I'm like, huh? And you go, did you get my email? And I'm like, no, I didn't. And then I found it in my spam folder. And so you responded to my email. I never saw it. And then you thought a week or 2 later, I want to reach out to those guys because they said it would be a lot of fun. And so thank you for thinking about us 2 weeks after email being like, where's this On the Runs guy?
I loved it. Well, I think you said something it was just such a really nice, actual felt thoughtful email and DM. And I could get the personality coming through, and I was like, oh, these feel like my people. So I appreciate it because I was like, I've done that to different artists or runners or things like that I'm like, I don't know if they're going to get this. And then there's a podcast I listen to, Stuff You Should Know. And they wrote me back. One time I'd just written an email and they wrote me back and I was like, oh, that was really cool. So I try to respond back. But if you have not gotten a DM response from me, send me an email or send me another DM or something because I'm also flaky.
So I'm sure you're busy too.
I'm a little busy.
Traveling the world.
I appreciated being on. I appreciate all the questions and research and just fun. Like, you delivered. You said it would be fun, and that's why I said it. Come on, and you delivered.
Yay!
I try to tell people it's that vibe of like hanging around a campfire or at a bar or the beach with a couple drinks, getting to know each other. And yeah, we might fangirl a little bit, but I think it's deserved because you guys are awesome.
Oh, thanks. Well, I appreciate everything. I'm real stoked for my playlist for my workout. I can't wait to shout y'all out. But yeah, I just appreciate what you guys are doing. It's really fun.
Brittany, this means so much to us that you spent so much time. This has almost been an hour and a half. So thank you very, very, very much from the bottom of our hearts for spending so much time with us. And like, you were just so cool. I mean, people meet your heroes. Like, this is so cool for us. So just keep being weird. Like, keep doing what you're doing, and you have fans for life.
Thank you guys so much.
Brittany Charboneau on the On the Runs podcast. That was fun.